Hello, hello, welcome everyone.
Hello, what's up everybody? Welcome to another weekly Wednesday live stream. I'm Peter.
And I'm Mike.
That's Mike, of course. So you know us both.
See, NRT in the chat already busted us. Stop breaking stuff before you even started.
I
Peter
mean,
plugged in the PC and camera gone.
Yeah, we don't know because they're connected to completely different power sockets. So I have no idea why that happens. It's it's a conspiracy. I think we need to get our tinfoil hats out. Because,
Yeah, let's hope the camera survives for the rest of the stream.
Abdunsis22 is asking how's your day going. I think that's a pretty good representation of how our day is going. Like, random stuff happening. You connect this PC, put it on the table, you connect the power to it, and then suddenly another device in the same room, completely unrelated, just starts freaking out. I don't know.
Good summary. By the way, the reason that we show you this PC is because I think it was 2 weeks ago.
Well,
my
you
kid
asked.
did a build. Yeah, my kid did a build in this,
Yeah.
but he didn't have all the tools ready. So he mounted the GPU horizontally, but we still wanted to show you what it looks mounted vertically. By the way, this is also the PC that we will be using today for demonstration purposes.
Yes. You wanna do a close-up look of it, maybe?
Yeah.
To also at the same time.
I see that we have to adjust the liquid cooling screen in the software. Because right now it's 90 degrees angle, but you can adjust the orientation.
In the software, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not connected
It's
to
an
anything
exercise.
right now. So
By the
I
way,
don't
are
know.
those your fingerprints, Peter?
Where?
On the case.
Yeah, probably. I can show you up close. Yeah, go to the capture if you want.
I am. There we go.
Oh, there we go.
So we switch chroma key off so you can actually see what the RGB looks like as well. So this is what it looks like mounted vertically.
There you go.
And as you can see, it does fit a 4090 Supreme.
Easily.
Yeah, easily.
I think we're going to call NVIDIA and say you need to make fatter graphics cards. And
This one
longer
already
ones.
got quite a big booty if I look at this from this angle.
Well, yeah, but I mean, look at how much space there is left there.
Yeah, plenty of space. We
There
need
you
bigger graphics cards.
That and thicker as well, because look at that. Like that whole space there is still unfilled, right? That's just begging for more graphics card. So yeah, but it's a gorgeous case, isn't it? Also at the top,
I do like it. Yeah.
with the connector and everything. It's just really nice design to it.
So what do you guys think? What do you like better for the people who saw the live stream about the Maestro case? Do you prefer the horizontal or the vertical mount?
Sorry
Just
about
curious.
the smudges on the case, by the way, but this thing is bloody heavy to hit. To
Yeah,
lift.
Peter had 5 hamburgers for lunch, and you can now see that in the mirrored in the case
Well, that and the keyboard
and the keyboard.
in
Yeah.
front of it. Anyway, yes, let's. I think we can switch away from it now.
Yes.
Cool.
Gigaram says vertical all the way.
For show, it is nice.
Yeah, it looks, especially in a case like this, it looks fancy.
Yeah. Also, when doing it like this, you don't have to, or at least I think it's less worry of any kind of sagging, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, in this orientation, the weight is of course distributed in a different way.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I
it's
would indeed.
tethered to the
consider
back,
it.
of course.
Yeah.
So it's screwed down. So basically, it's just pulling on the back.
Indeed. NRT says the only thing I'm not keen with that case are location of the I/O ports on top. Where would you prefer to have them? Because there's always a bit of a debate where to position the I/O
On the
ports.
front, I guess.
Front is difficult if it's made out of glass.
Well, I mean, difficult. That doesn't mean you shouldn't try it.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Switchable position.
Switchable.
Well, that's
position,
even more
okay.
difficult, I think.
Yeah, it's definitely more difficult.
Yeah.
But like for example on our Pano cases, we have it basically on the bottom, on one of the feet.
Yeah. I mean, I guess we could make our cases out of card box and then give you a box cutter and you can cut out the holes for the I/O wherever you want them.
Another option is of course to move the I/O more to the front of the case, but then the cables from the ports will be visible through the glass at the front.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, you could do it maybe on the side here. This part is
Yeah, perhaps.
black, but then it's very close to the fans here. So I don't know how you would.
That would require the
logistically-
case to be a little bit longer. Indeed.
Yeah, exactly. So,
And
yeah,
still,
there's
you would probably see it.
maybe on the rear, like the back panel, basically.
On the side, yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, it's always a bit difficult because it also depends on where you position your PC. Is it on your desk? Is it on the ground? Where do you place it? Is it left? Is it right? We don't know. So it's in the end, it's always a bit guessing what's suitable for most people.
Yeah, and Vegetom is also saying how to get the computer from out under the desk was not easy. No, well, this thing is quite heavy, and also you don't want to. You know, I'm trying to make sure I'm holding it in areas that don't seem fragile. Let's put it like that, because you don't want to just grab it with the glass and.
Yeah, Simone also noticed rotate the AIO LCD.
I know.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah, but don't worry.
Currently, there is no monitor attached, but usually in the MSI Center software, you can just flip it.
No monitor? What do you call that?
Yeah, it's kind of a monitor.
No,
Tiny monitor.
But anyway, no, this thing is going to go under the table in a minute anyway, because it's not, believe it or not, the topic of today's live stream.
No, but we just wanted to show you the vertical mount quickly.
Obviously, not just the vertical mount.
Yeah, and the thing as a whole.
Obviously. Anyway, let's move it back under the table.
Yes. While you do that, I will announce a giveaway, because today we'll give away several Steam wallet codes. To participate, you can go to msi.com/2/insider, or if you're watching on YouTube or Twitch, you can also follow the direct link that our bot puts in the chat once every 5 minutes. That will lead you to Gleam. Within Gleam, you can perform several actions. The more actions you perform, the bigger chance you'll have to win. And if you're a returning visitor, also make sure to claim your loyalty bonus. Then you will have a slight edge in the giveaway. You only have to sign up once, so if you didn't win the first time, no need to sign up again. We will do several drawings throughout the stream, and you will automatically be included in the other drawings as well.
Yes. Don't mind me, I'm just under the table already pre-connecting a couple of cables that we'll need later on, so this should save me a little bit of time later on. Keep talking, Mike. Go ahead.
Fidja Maya is asking, thermal paste is fine? Yeah, perfectly fine.
Now it is.
Now it is, yeah. Beantown Review is asking what's going on now. Peter decided to leave. He had more important places to be right now. More specifically, underneath the table. He's just connecting
This
everything.
is a bit suspect with you sitting like that.
Yeah. Especially if you move in that direction.
Yes.
If you look back at the waiting screen earlier on, you were basically in my lap. I was already petting you.
Yeah. It's a little bit weird. Anyway.
We should make this 18 plus.
Yes, I think we made it 18 plus just now.
So today we will talk about two monitors. To be more specific, the MAG274URFW. This is also interesting. And the other one is the MPG274URFQD.
Sorry, Mike, I'm going to cover your face here. With monitor.
Nice.
There we go.
Hi everyone. I'm right here.
So here they are. That's actually much harder than it looks, I can tell you, to try and interact with stuff that's not physically in front of you.
Big Radio is asking, why does Peter suddenly look like he just ate a glazed donut?
Do I look like I ate a glazed donut?
You got busted underneath the desk.
Sorry.
So two monitors today. Both of them are Ultra HD monitors. Peter will do
an
unboxing.
See that here.
Yeah.
But also both are 27 inch. So
Indeed.
There you go. And indeed, both are 4K or Ultra HD monitors.
Yeah.
Both are flat.
Indeed. And let me quickly move here, because here you can see basically how big is this resolution compared to Full HD. Full HD, of course, being 1920 by 1080 pixels, so 1920 horizontally, 1080 vertically. Ultra HD basically doubles those numbers, but that means that it quadruples the resolution basically. So if you have 4 Full HD monitors and you stack 2 on top of each other and 2 at the side, then you will have the exact same resolution as these monitors have by themselves. This also means that your graphics card will have to push 4 times as many pixels as it would have with a Full HD monitor. So later in the live stream we'll also give you a bit of an indication of what kind of graphics card you need in order to drive an ultra high definition monitor.
Yes. Also, somebody was saying, FRZ Eagle, who gives those names to those monitors? I am sure both are great, but those names. The thing is, it's really difficult to give, let's say, names to monitors, to products like monitors, with like some kind of meaning that you can actually tell what they mean. So let me just quickly provide you with these two monitors, kind of like decipher, decode the, Da Vinci the hell out of these things. At least give it a try, right? So, all right, I'm not sure you can see MPG. This is a P, by the way, just so you guys know. So that's MSI Pro Gaming?
Performance
Gaming, sorry. And MAG, which is Arsenal Gaming.
Yeah.
Now, Arsenal tends to be a little bit more on the, let's say, lower end. MPG is like our middle of the stack, and then there's MEG, which is Enthusiast Gaming, which is the top end.
Yeah.
So basically, you've got two monitors here, one from a little bit more of the entry level, let's say, to give it something of a name, and one of the middle range. Then the first numbers in the monitor name always signify the size of the panel. So in this case, 27 inch, both of them, 27. Then there's 4, which I honestly don't know.
I do. It's a generation.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I was thinking probably the generation indeed. So yeah, 4th generation.
So for example, we also have 273, 272,
there you go.
271.
Yeah, so indeed. So probably it started with that indeed. So now we're on the 4th generation. So that's why 274, 4th generation. So that doesn't actually say anything about the specs directly, whereas most of the other things do. The U stands for resolution, so Ultra HD. You will also see a couple with Q, which would be Quad HD or 1440p. The R stands for RGB, so there is some RGB on the monitor. And the F, I'm not sure actually.
Flat.
Oh, flat. There you go. Yeah. And because otherwise it would be a C, I guess. Curved.
Yeah, curved.
Yeah, there we go. And then you will see two differences here. So after the F, this monitor actually has a W. Now the W stands for white. So this monitor is white, whereas that one is black or dark. So
it doesn't stand for win, that you always win if you play on this monitor?
Kind of, but I mean the R already stands for that, doesn't it?
That's true. For the extra
if you really know your stuff, RGB is win, right? That's an instant win right there. And then there's QD, of course. Now QD, of course, stands for quantum dot. So that also has something to do with the technology inside the panel. So within these names, and I know that they suck. If you don't know how to decipher them, let's say, or how to make sense out of them, it actually is more difficult, I guess, to make sense of them. But like at least for us, when we have, I don't know how many monitors we have, but there keeps
many nowadays.
Exactly, and we keep launching more, obviously. You need to have some kind of way to tell, a system, let's say, inside the naming rule of, what is this monitor and what can it do, and how is it different from the other monitors, basically.
Actually, in an earlier live stream, this topic also came up because it can kind of look like the names are generated by a password generator.
Yes, like that or forehead typing. Right?
Indeed. But we also asked chat then, how would you name the monitor? Yeah. And then people in chat were thinking about it, and they started building product names, and they ended up with almost the same names as we give our monitor.
Yeah, because actually, I mean, and I think that's why we try to, I mean, this is, we've tried to explain it multiple times. Because I think for most people, like if you hear it once and you kind of get like, oh right, so there is a logic behind it and a system, then it starts making a little bit more sense, and you might think like, all right, yeah, sure. And it's exactly like you said, Mike, right? What if you had to, you were in charge of naming these monitors and you had to make a name? You can either go for names that, maybe, yeah, they're unique, like Motherboards is doing, right? You got Edge, you got Godlike, you got, lots of different names, but they don't really say anything about specs per se, right? So would that make things more or less clear? I mean,
the other problem what you have, of course, with motherboards, what we do is we basically have the chipset and then we have the name as the addition.
Yeah.
In monitors, you don't have a chipset.
No.
So
indeed.
Would you then use a couple of numbers to still have the diagonal, for example, in and then add a name?
Yeah.
But then it doesn't say anything about the product. So it's maybe harder to differentiate also because the monitor lineup is very extensive. So whereas for motherboards, you have returning models based on a newer chipset. With monitors, that's a bit more difficult. Sometimes it works to a certain extent, but the lineup is so extensive nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah. So indeed, so we you know, and we also know it's, you know, it's not perfect probably, but it's like the closest we could get to anything that makes some kind of sense, especially given the enormous variety of monitors that we have and the different technologies. And you have to remember, like, this is a very dynamic environment as well. So where, like Mike said, motherboards, you have the chipset already like as the beginning of part of the name and to make it unique. Monitors, you don't even have that. So, you know, we have to include something ourselves to kind of bring that variety in. Otherwise, you'll just have 10 different monitors in a space of 10 years that all have the same name, and then you're trying to figure out, so, but which one is this one? Because I can't tell by the name. So you have to have some kind of thing in the name to indicate, you know, that's why, for example, the 4, the generation, you might have a 27.3 URF QD, I'm not sure, which, you know, if the 4 wasn't there, you'd think, well, what's different? And then, you know, it's a generation, for example. So anyway, not perfect, but hey, at least we hope by explaining it a couple of times, maybe it'll start making a little bit more sense.
Vortex has a G321Q, so then you know it's the gaming series. It's 32 inches, it's the first generation, and it's Quad HD, so 1440p monitor.
Yeah.
That's what you basically can tell by the name here. Of course, in order to do so, you need to know the naming rule. But as soon as you know it, then it's relatively easy.
And then you can start applying for a job here. Hey!
That's always the first thing we ask with job interviews.
Crap, I wasn't supposed to say that, was I? That this was more like a recruitment drive? Just kidding, just kidding. Thanks, 11CS103. Cool cardboard boxes, he says. Yeah, I know. We're trying to, you know, also be a little bit more environmentally friendly, so that's why, you know, the boxes look a little bit more like this and are a little bit less flashy and glossy, at least in a lot of cases.
Alan says, MSI says, we're going green, but really saving a fortune on fancy color printing. It also definitely saves money.
Sure.
But if you want, we can go back to the color printing. We just make everything $10 more expensive.
Exactly. It kind of works your way to the price in the shop as well. So, I mean, I guess it's a win for everybody, right? That if we do save a bit of money on this, then that actually works its way into the price, and we're doing the environment like a favor at the same time. So, winners, winners.
Yes. These monitors actually do have a lot in common. We will start mostly with the MAG model.
Yeah.
And we will go through all the different specifications, because the MPG model basically does everything the MAG model does and more. So after we finished, cozy here. After we finish the MAG model, we will continue with the MPG model, so you can see what differs the two and what kind of extra features you do get with the MPG model compared to the MAG model.
So let's get to unboxing this monitor first. So this is the MAG 27URFW. So this is the white monitor.
Don't forget the fourth generation.
Yeah. Didn't I say 27.4?
No.
Oh.
You said 27.
Well,
so 274 URFW.
All right. Well, I meant to say the 4. Okay, so I will do the unboxing. And Mike, in the meantime, might tell you a little bit more about it.
Yes.
In case we want to do that at the same time.
So, Ultra HD resolution. Let's talk a little bit more about the panel. And these specifications are for both these monitors, both the MAG and the MPG model. So they both have a rapid IPS display. Of course, the QD model has a quantum dot display, and this one has a regular rapid IPS panel. Both of them have an Ultra HD resolution. It says 4K here. Officially, 4K is slightly different. Officially, 4K resolution is 4096 times 2160. These are Ultra HD, so that's 3840 times 2160. And
so
both
this
of
is
them,
Mike's actually moment.
Yeah, actually moment. And both of them support up to 160 hertz, and that's no matter the resolution you're using. So even all the way up to the Ultra HD resolution, you can use 160 hertz. There They are very fast panels as well, supporting a 0.5 millisecond response time. That is gray to gray. So with colors, of course, will be slightly lower, but still very fast panel. Especially for IPS standards. Of course, with OLED you can go even lower. But for LCD, 0.5 is basically the fastest you can get nowadays.
I really like that everything in this in the box is white as well. Like,
yeah, it's nice, isn't it?
I don't know if we can switch to the main cam real quick, but it's like, so the power brick, the charging cable, right? That one is white, of course. But there's even a white colored HDMI cable in the box. Now, sadly, it's not long enough for the setup that I can use it, I think. But I did want to highlight it. So you even get like a really nice, everything's white, everything's in the same theme. So if you're really going for a white build, this is really nice touch.
NRT is asking, is it LG IPS or IPS level? It's not an LG panel.
No.
So it's a rapid IPS panel.
Right, so I have...
Silent Shadow is saying the quantum dot is an extra backlight blocking layer, isn't it? It is an extra layer. I think, at least from what I saw, it doesn't make a huge difference in terms of backlight blocking. Also, I know the brightness are both at 400 nits in the specs, I believe.
Something like that.
But yeah, later on you will see them side by side, so we can compare also brightness of these monitors. But at least from what I saw, it doesn't make much of a difference, at least with the backlight.
Indeed.
It is very bright. You now with all the studio lights, you can't see it. Vortex asking, does the Supreme work well with an i7-14700K and a B760? Yeah, sure.
Probably.
Yeah.
Well, it depends. I mean,
Perfectly.
the Supreme, like we have many Supremes.
But no matter the Supreme model, all of them work fine with that combination.
Yes. Yeah, and Supreme tends to be a bit more on the higher end anyway of the NVIDIA chipset, so you're probably fine, yeah.
Just keep in mind that on B760 you cannot overclock the CPU, whereas a 4700K usually would be able to overclock because it's a K SKU. But in order to do so, you need a Z series chipset. If you don't care about overclocking, perfectly fine to take a B series.
Aren't you supposed to click the stand in the monitor while it's in the package? You can do that, but like with bigger ones, like we had in the past, like one of the really wide monitor, and also those panels, I believe they were OLED, so those panels were really thin as well, which is a bit more like, you know, you feel it's more fragile. There, indeed, it's actually suggested to kind of hook it in the box and then lift it up by that, because the strongest point of the monitor is obviously the back here, where there's like metal bits and stuff. In this case, I mean, 27-inch, it's not that big, right? It's not it's quite easy. You can actually, if you're careful, it's not too heavy either. So that's why it's still doable to hold it in your hands. You can just, you know, put it in between your hands like this, and then, like, you don't even have to put your thumbs on the actual display. And then basically what you do is, at the top there's two little spaces, and of course there's two little what do you call it, two little things there, two little prongs sticking out at the top. So you basically just hook it in, and after that you can actually secure it with two screws at the bottom to make sure it doesn't move at all. But if you're not planning on moving it really, then that is actually enough. So it's quite easy to then just do like that. Maybe show you guys that from the other side so it's more clear, but basically just like that, like hanging a painting on a wall.
Yeah, I see Vac Tom was also asking, did you insert the monitor without a screw? Yeah, if you want to fix it properly, of course, if you use at home,
yes,
do use the two screws there.
Yeah, so this there's a screw hole here, and also one on the other side. There. So there are screws included, so you can actually do that. But I mean, the only way this would move is if you lift it by the bottom of the monitor.
Maybe we should put them in, so because later on we will also demonstrate the...
Yeah, maybe, right. Yeah, okay, then I'll need to grab me a screwdriver for a second, but yeah. Give me a second, I should have one here.
Big Daddy Worm 79 is asking, a Mystic light on the back panel. It does have RGB lighting, and this is actually one of the differences between the MAG and the MPG model, because the MPG model can be controlled and synced through Mystic Light. The MAG model cannot, because you need a USB uplink for that, and that one is only available on the MPG model. So in case you really want full Mystic Light functionality, the MPG model is the way to go.
I think they combined those screws in the other box.
Vortex is asking, do you sell RGB case fans? Yes, we definitely do. Actually, in the live stream we just talked about with the Maestro case, the MEG Maestro 700K series, we also showed the MPG Easy 128 RGB fans. Those are actually interconnectable fans. And they have very nice RGB lighting both in the casing and in the fan itself, in the fan blades.
So let me just quickly put them in place.
NRT is asking, do the screws got white caps? I don't think
not
they do.
These ones. I don't think so. I actually took them from the other box because I mean we get media samples, so obviously they will have been unpackaged a couple of times. But yeah, I didn't see any white screws. To be honest, you're probably not gonna be staring at the back that much. I mean, I've put them in now. You can still see, obviously, there are the dark
dots, basically.
You know, the dark dots. But that's all you see, basically. But now it's completely fixed, let's say. So there's nothing that can happen to it.
Sesko is asking, does it hurt when the box goes through you, Mike? No, I took some painkillers beforehand because I knew
he's
this
used
would
to
happen.
it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Does leave a little residue though, like Ghostbusters things, you know.
So here it is, in full glory.
Yeah, very nice monitor indeed. What I can do is maybe there is some tape on here.
Oh yeah, NRT already noticed. I see some peeling needs needs doing too. Always the best moment of the stream.
Yep.
The peeling. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers, Mike. Let's see, and there's a little bit extra here as well. So. Nice.
Johnny says, may I ask a question about a collab? It's best for you to contact the local MSI in your region.
Yes.
Because they will be responsible for any collaborations in your region.
Exactly. We don't. We actually have to do our own collaborations in terms of arranging samples and stuff internally.
Vac Thomas asking, cola whiskey? Shh, don't tell anyone. I'm not allowed to drink
Officially, no. Officially, it's a very healthy drink.
Yeah, very healthy.
Exactly.
Vegetables in there and stuff.
There you go. Veg. Right. Yeah. So this is the white monitor. What I'll do is I'll connect it up. Or do you want to go maybe over some of the specs and like maybe the connections and stuff like that?
Yeah. I will just talk about it while you connect everything.
But maybe I can actually show it now at the bottom. I thought maybe that in terms of timing that might be...
At the bottom? How do you mean?
Yeah, like the display connectors and stuff like that.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, sure. We can go through that.
There you go. What I'll do is I'll very gently put it on its face.
Face plant incoming.
Don't do this at home, kids. Monitors don't tend to like this.
If it's a fluffy and even surface like we have here, then
yeah, exactly. It's basically a very soft mouse pad that I've got. Yeah, we can. You can switch to the mobile view if you want.
Is your phone awake?
Should be.
There we go.
There you go. So basically, we have the power barrel, the power jack. Let's say this is the audio jack, 3.5 millimeters, only for headphones, obviously, so not for microphone. HDMI 1, HDMI 2, DisplayPort, and Type-C. And the Type-C, it actually does show here, it should. Max 15 watt power delivery.
Yes. So yes, you can, for example, charge your phone through your monitor.
Exactly. So yeah, pretty nice. Just, you know, most things that you'll need.
Yeah, so the HDMI ports are both HDMI 2.1, the 48 gigabit per second version, and the DisplayPort is 1.4a. And the Type-C connector also carries a display port signal through the USB Type-C.
Yeah, so the Type-C is both for charging, but also for display.
Yeah, NRT is also asking, is a Type-C port an input too for display signals? Yes, it is. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And Fuentes, HDMI 2.1, yes, also the case.
Exactly. Yeah. Output amperage. I don't know about the amperage, but it's 15 watts, so you can. I think you can.
I think it's 5 volts, 3 amps, but I'm not sure if it can also do different voltages at the lower amp.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on.
Let's talk a little bit about adaptive sync, because these monitors, both of them, both the MAG and the MPG, can also do AMD FreeSync Premium. This also means that they work with the VESA Adaptive Sync standard. They're not officially G-Sync compatible certified, but you can still switch it on and see if it works for you. In my experience, in many cases, it does. Maybe we can also try this out later with our monitors, because we are using an NVIDIA graphics card today. Just be aware that they're not officially G-Sync compatible. Compass says, give it a try. Later on, we will actually demonstrate this with the MPG model as well. That one supports even more power delivery, so we will demonstrate this with a notebook too. So you see how the power delivery and the display signal works in both directions.
All right.
So AMD FreeSync Premium certified. Both of these monitors also have anti-flicker technology, so you may notice it was especially prevalent with CRT monitors, the very fast flashing, and if you would sit in front of them for a long time, you got a headache at a certain point. Still, flickering can be, it's not always perceivable, but it can still be there. Anti-flicker technology significantly reduces this, so should also make it more comfortable to look at for longer periods of time. These monitors are also Display HDR 400 certified. Of course, in order to use this, your content needs to support HDR as well, but nowadays many movies, games, etc. do this. There are many different versions of HDR. Some are more impressive than others, so definitely check it out if you're really interested in HDR, if this would suit your needs or not. Then let's talk a little bit about the color gamut, and this is specifically for the MAG model that we're currently showing. So this is the non-quantum dot version, the MAG 274 URFW, and it has a DCI P3 coverage of 98%, an Adobe RGB coverage of 93%, and an sRGB coverage of 133%. You may be wondering, how can it be over 100%? Basically, it can do everything within the sRGB color range and more than that. That's why you exceed a 100%.
It's just that good.
Yeah, it's just that good. By the way, the quantum dot can do even more, but you will see more about that later. FRZ Eagle is asking, do you have crosshair cheats in it? Yes, we definitely have those cheats in it. We will show you later on.
Always. There's no point in having a monitor like this and not having crosshair cheats, right? I mean, come on.
Another feature that both of these monitors support is AI vision. And AI vision is basically a further developed version of a feature that we had in the past that basically boosted the black levels of the monitor to make it more visible. Or yeah, basically I say it the wrong way around. Basically, black was less black, so you could see more details. So when someone was hiding in the shadow, you could, for example, see that player.
I think it was pretty much like almost like a gamma boost. At least at the start.
That's a better description indeed.
Very crude gamma boost. So it was effective, but it wasn't particularly pretty.
Yeah, to spot people, for example, in dark areas. Oh, Peter, you disappeared. Did you put in a plug again?
Yes.
Wow.
Wait, the camera really doesn't like that.
No. Don't plug stuff in.
No.
Let me see if I got a shock from the camera.
Yeah, there's a lot
There's
of static
some kind of static
interference.
Are we back?
Yes.
Yes, we're back. That was a shocking experience.
It's a shock and a half. Jeez. Right.
Back to AI vision. So in previous generations, like Peter already mentioned, it was not particularly pretty because basically you lost a lot of contrast because of it. With AI vision, you still remain as much as possible of the contrast while still being able to see people in darker areas. So it basically dynamically adjusts certain areas in order to still get as good as possible image quality. I won't say it's as good as when you have it switched off, but it will help you to show enemies in darker areas without suffering too much of the image quality. This is of course something you can decide yourself if you want this on or off. Do you want to have it look pretty? You probably still go for off. Do you want to have a competitive advantage? I would definitely turn it on in that case. Smart crosshair. This is something we can actually show, or do you want to show that on the black one later on?
Yeah, the black one is better, I think. I mean, I can show it a little bit, maybe.
Yeah.
But then we'd have to...
Feature is basically the same on both, but with the black one, you can easily enable it through the software.
I mean...
that's specifically on the MPG model. In the MAG model, you can only enable it through the OSD. So you have to use the joystick in order to enable it.
So basically that's what I'm doing now. Can you switch to the main? I'm not sure if this is clear enough. I mean, maybe not. Wait, let me grab the camera. Yes. Right. Switch. There we go.
Yeah, it takes a couple of seconds for it to come.
Exactly. This is sharp?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's fine.
So,
putting in an alarm?
Yeah. Off. Okay. So, just pressing the button. Hello. Here we go. And then the menu pops up, obviously. And then obviously GI, so that's gaming intelligence, it already tells you it's got two settings. So the crosshair and the scope. Scope is for zooming in, basically. And the crosshair is obviously the crosshair. And then you can choose the icon, so choose whatever shape is best for you. Like, for example, if we go for the actual cross, then you can customize the color between white and red, or auto. Auto, it will probably switch automatically between these two.
Just so you know, by the way, your monitor is still set to 60 Hertz.
Yeah, I know. That's because, you know, if you just connect it to Windows, that's probably what it's going to default to. So you're going to have to set it to a higher refresh rate later on.
So also important for everyone viewing right now, if you buy a new monitor, a high refresh rate one, make sure to set it to the high refresh rate. Otherwise, you're still using 60 Hertz.
Exactly, manually indeed.
Yeah.
And the quickest way to do that on an MSI monitor to check what display, what rate is it running at, is to just click the button on the back. And then at the top there, it will tell you. So that's always a good way to check as well. Like, what am I actually running at? It's multiple times that I actually thought that something felt off, and then I checked it, and I was like, that explains it. And also, you can basically say the position. So at the moment, it's there in the middle. But I can actually move it like that by using my.
So for example, if a game has an off-center crosshair, you can adjust this if you want.
Yeah. But in like hardcore games, like I guess Tarkov, or other games like that don't give crosshairs, that could be useful.
You can cheat in a crosshair with this.
Exactly. And then of course reset the scope. I'm not sure if you already mentioned that. But
no, that was the next topic, so let's already show this as well.
All right. Well, you got small, medium, large, and and you've got the ratio. So you can, this is how much it zooms in. So 1.5 times, 2 times, or 4 times. Let's take 4 times. And then you can basically turn it on and off. I think you can assign a hotkey for this so that you don't have to go through the system. But as you can see there, here we go.
So basically it enlarges the middle part.
Yeah, exactly. It enlarges whatever you're looking at in the middle. So it's kind of like a scope. And that's why it's called optic scope as well. So it's
by the way, you can combine this with the smart crosshair as well. So then you will see the crosshair in the middle too.
Yeah, and I mean now it's medium. You can make it large. That looks like that. It's quite big in relation to the monitor.
Yeah.
Or if you just want a small zoom in, then there you go. It's basically just creates a small area that will enlarge it.
See Eagle says that's cheating.
It is.
I agree. Eric doesn't agree. I also think it's cheating.
But look at what you have to do to actually do this, right? I mean, it's multitasking, right? There's a skill to that. Anyway, okay. Go ahead. Oh, wait, I need to disable the crosshair by the look of it, because I still have it active.
And meanwhile, I'll go here. Here you also see the example of both the smart crosshair and the optic scope enabled. So on the
how
left
do I-
you see how you would normally see the game. On the right you see optic scope and smart crosshair being enabled.
There we go. Yeah, I just have to set it to none. I was
Yeah.
wondering, like, what do I do to turn it off?
But yeah, personally, I also would not use this because I also consider it cheating. It's debatable whether or not it is. Alan says hardware cheats cannot be detected, so it's not cheating. I tend to disagree.
Right.
Even if it cannot be detected, I would still consider it
So
cheating.
but do you subscribe to the theory that it's only cheating if you get caught?
Yeah.
Because it kind of sounds like that.
It's also maybe I'm getting old, but I, for example, still do LAN parties, and the hardware cheat is just visible on a LAN party.
Yes.
The people can look at my screen and they see the crosshair and the optics scope as well. So,
Yeah.
will they consider it cheating? At least
mean,
I would if I would see it on someone's monitor.
I wouldn't use this in a competitive setting, but like if it would be make it easier for me in like a single player game or something, then yeah, why not? You know, it's gamers with poor eyesight. Yeah, I guess that's a good argument as well.
Yeah.
But other than that, wouldn't they just lower their resolution? To be fair, like make everything look bigger. Or
And it's always a bit debatable where
Yeah.
does cheating start. It will be different for everyone.
all right, okay, yeah, let's move on.
Yes.
I mean, we
It
can
also
have
has a
whole live
console
stream
mode.
about that, the ethics of using
The ethics of
enhanced
gaming,
features.
Both of these monitors, so both the MH and the MPG model, also have a console mode. And the console mode supports VRR, meaning variable refresh rate. Of course, you also need one of the modern consoles in order to use this, because the console also has to support this feature. It can, of course, use the HDMI 2.1 connectivity with the full 48 gigabits per second bandwidth. It supports 120 Hertz mode, because many of the newer consoles can also do this. So, of course, on PC you can go even higher, up to 160. On console you're limited to 120 Hertz, but that's more of a console limitation than a monitor limitation. You can also use the HDR functionality with this. And it supports both auto low latency mode, which will basically set everything correctly in order to get the lowest possible latency, and consumer electronics control. So many people will notice as CEC. You also notice from televisions, for example, so you can use external devices to control other things. Yeah, that's the console mode. So this is something you can use, for example, if you want to hook up both a PC and a console simultaneously and you want to switch in between them. Then this is a very nice function to have, I think.
Yes.
Then, and this is why Peter had to put the screws in, for the ergonomics, because you can actually adjust this in a lot of ways. Let me switch to this camera. So yeah, you can tilt it, you can adjust the height, you can swivel.
Yeah, exactly. The height as well, obviously.
Yeah, height adjustment.
And you need to put it quite
And
high
that's
to
pivot.
be able to swivel.
This is pivot.
Oh, this is pivot.
Yeah.
What is the swiveling? Is what
Swivel
I did
is the left-right.
Oh, is okay. Well,
That's
obviously.
that's swivel. The tilt you already did. That's like this.
Yes. Yeah.
The height adjustment is like this, and the pivot is like that.
Pivot!
Yeah. There you go. And then you can use it in portrait mode if you want to. So the standard 16:9 is landscape. As you can see, there is a little bit of green in the background,
Just
so you can see through the monitor.
There's no. I'm disappearing here. Exactly.
And back to the landscape mode. So you can actually
Yeah. A lot of
turn this
flexibility.
in a lot of different directions to make it ergonomically suitable for whatever you want to do with it. This is, of course, using the default stand. You can also VESA mount it if you want, but then things change depending on the arm you're using.
Yes.
Sagar is saying, I have never used a 4K display. I wonder when will they become more affordable?
Well,
they
it's
already have become
It's a
lot
constant
more.
process.
Yeah.
I was going to say, yeah. Basically, the price keeps. It's like with storage as well, right? If you or like a good CPUs, most of them. If you look at the price history, they just keep going down and down and down. Same goes for 4K monitors. especially if you're looking on like maybe some newer models, the introduction of these models is also not that high in price. But also, if you look at some a bit older models, you will see that as time goes by, and if they're still selling it, it also goes down quite a bit in price. So yeah, if you're really looking into that, I think also if you're looking at 4K monitors, you do really need to look at what is your ideal size in terms of panel, because a lot of 4K monitors are bigger than 27-inch. So that might also make a big difference, and maybe why 27-inch monitors like this is actually quite worth considering if you're in the market for a 4K monitor, because the monitor being quite a bit smaller also tends to be a bit more friendly on the price, let's say. And so if 27-inch is all you need, let's say, but you do still want a very high resolution like 4K.
And actually, a smaller size also gives you a higher pixel density.
Exactly. So it will look even sharper, right?
Yeah.
I mean, for Christ's sakes, even phones these days, a lot of phones have 4K displays. I mean, and that's like tiny in terms of a display. So the pixel per inch count there is insane. So, I mean, having a 4K monitor with a very high, let's say very large panel size isn't necessarily a good thing. Obviously, if you have a big panel size, you want high resolution. But if you make it smaller, like 27-inch, it actually becomes more, even sharper, even better in terms of PPI.
And it, of course, also very much depends on how good are your eyes, whether it makes a difference or not.
True.
Because if your eyesight is not perfect, then you can, of course, get higher resolutions, but at a certain point, there will be no added value for you specifically.
Kind of like my parents, which I hope they're not watching. I know they're not watching, but no, but it's kind of the same. And many people might recognize this. Like I upgraded their TV once to like a higher resolution, because they used to have like
Full HD to Ultra HD?
No, not even that. It was like they had the what was the old school
HD
analog,
ready?
No, the analog.
The analog,
the
CRT.
analog input, let's say. And then, but it was on a digital TV, so like with a flat panel, so it doesn't really. Anyway, so and then indeed I showed them like, oh, this is like what a really high resolution, and they were just looking at like, I don't see the difference. I don't see it. Okay, well then I guess it's not for you, which is okay. But yeah, it is worth noting, because you can spend a lot of money on it, but it's indeed, if you're not gonna really see it or enjoy it, then yeah.
Then it will only make it unnecessarily expensive. Not only the monitor, but also you need a more expensive graphics card in order to drive it. So if your eyesight is not good enough to benefit from it, then 4040p may be a better option for you. Yeah. Also more affordable. Coming back to the affordability of monitors, I think Ultra HD monitors now, they have come down a lot in price.
Yeah.
Of course, it does differ a lot on display technology. So an OLED Ultra HD monitor will still be way more expensive than the LCD models that we're showing today. Yeah,
and things like QD will add another dimension of cost compared to non-QD.
Yeah, so QD is a bit more expensive.
Exactly. So there's always a bit of, what do you think is important? What will you enjoy? If you think you really enjoy the very rich colors of QD, all right, then that might be worth it. If you really like the deep blacks, and there's even QD OLED these days, right? So the combination of those two, which, that's a bit more expensive, but then you do get the benefits of both those technologies, which is also really cool if you enjoy those things.
So some more questions. Gigi Real was asking which size available. These monitors are both 27 inches. Yeah. We do also have bigger monitors, of course, but then in the name you will, for example, instead of 27, we'll see 32.
Yes.
But the specific models that we talk about today are both 27 inches.
Yeah. You can always look at MSI.com, and there you can see all the monitor sizes and the different types of monitors that we have available. Yeah. So.
Also for bigger monitor sizes, we also have different aspect ratios, for example, ultra wides, stuff like that.
Yes. And even, what was the other one called?
No?
Uber Ultra Wide? I don't know.
No, it's
actually it's there in the box, right?
Yeah, DQHD it is. That's basically double
QHD.
Yeah, double QHD.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's basically two monitors fused together, indeed.
Yeah, it's also exactly the resolution of the monitors that we talk about today. If you put them side by side, that resolution is the DQHD.
I see I have multiple of my dads in the chat now. So. Hi, Dad.
Skeets is asking, are these 16:9 or 16:10? Ththese are 16:9 monitors.
Yes. Yeah, so regular resolution, let's say.
Yeah, nowadays standard. In the past, 16:10 was more standard. Then you, for example, had 1920 by 1200 pixels, or
and even further in the past, 1:1 was the standard.
That was 4.3.
Depends on
That's where it
how
started.
far you want to go. Well, on
Yeah.
TVs it wasn't.
Yeah.
Those were actually those really square fellas. Anyway.
Skeet says 1440p LED monitors are a little more expensive than before, though. I think 1440p monitors got so cheap over a certain time. At a certain point,
Yeah,
it doesn't really get any more affordable than that.
Yeah.
Of course, we reached that early with 1080p. Now we basically got to that point, 1440p. If then there is a cost increase in any area, for example, certain components that are more expensive because of whatever reason, then you may see a slight increase again.
There's
that may lower again in the
fluctuations.
future, but it kind of 1440p kind of steadied out, and I think Ultra HD is still declining a bit in price. Skeet saying 16 by 10 seems to be making a comeback in laptops. Yes, I've also seen that trend indeed.
Yeah, yeah.
Also for productivity tasks, it kind of makes sense because I mostly have this with full HD. For me, there's quite a bit of a difference between 1920 by 1080 pixels or 1920 by 1200, especially if I'm working with documents. Then the extra
headroom,
vertical headroom you have basically is very welcome.
I mean, come on, who doesn't want an extra taskbar or one of those in a browser, one of those extra search bars or something? I do believe they call it browser aids or something in the IT world. I think that's a technical term there. Anyway.
Simi86 is saying, I already asked but missed the answer because I got a phone call.
Oh.
The website still talks about the G274 QPFQD, but the shop site is not there anymore. Is it discontinued or will it come back in stock? Waiting to get my second. Oof, I don't know this from top of my head.
Also,
Mankit is usually our monitor guy.
Yeah.
He's currently on a holiday,
Yes.
so we're taking over for monitors. But this is a very specific question for a very specific
honestly,
monitor.
the best way to find out, because it can differ per country or per region even. So it can be discontinued in certain regions and still be sold in other regions. It really depends.
Also possible.
So best way for you to find out, I guess, would be to maybe contact a shop that you know had it before, maybe the one that you bought the other one at, and just ask them and say, hey, I can't seem to see that monitor anymore. Do you know if it's discontinued or not? And then they will tell you, at least for their part, the status.
If they still have the possibility to order it, maybe?
Yeah. Yes, yeah, and they can tell you what their status is.
Yeah.
I think that's the best advice I can tell you.
Then let's talk a little bit about the dimensions. Of course, it's also the same for both monitors because I basically use the same shell. 27 inches, like we mentioned, so that's 69 centimeters in diagonal.
Oh, I don't know. Is it?
I think so, yeah.
I'm not a big inches guy.
No, you're more of a centimeters guy?
Yes.
I'm not sure if that's a compliment.
Well, I mean, it's what I grew up with.
I was not talking about that. But the width is 613.5 millimeters. It took a while.
Bananas. I'm a bananas. No, just kidding. Anyway.
Height, and I believe this is the minimum height. So when you fully push it down, I think it's like 40. Yeah, I think that's how they measured 406.6. Of course, you can increase this by up to 13 centimeters to make it taller. The width of the foot is 308.6 millimeters.
It's quite sturdy. It's quite stable for this type of monitor, especially because 27 inches. Again, it's not that big, so it doesn't really swing a lot when you or move a lot when you have it on the table.
Like 10 years ago, people would think 27 inches was huge for a monitor.
I know.
And now you're like, 27 is not that big.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it depends what you're used to as well. I used to be like, I have a 27 inch, at home for my main monitor as well. So that's kind of what I'm used to now. And obviously,
for me, this is big. I use 3 times 24.
There you go. So I mean, for me, and also working here, obviously you see those huge monitors coming by, and then something like this becomes like the norm, I guess. But anyway, it
Alan also mentioned 19 was massive back in the day.
Yeah, oh, I know.
For sure.
I mean, what was the biggest CRT monitor you ever saw? Those things were chunky and heavy as hell, man.
I think like 23 inches.
Something like that, yeah. But
that was so heavy. So heavy.
They needed more space towards the back than they needed, like,
it was
like
crazy.
Height or,
Already 21 inches was very heavy, but 23 was crazy.
Yeah. All right, anyway.
Those were horrible for LAN parties, by the way, if you had to drag those along.
Really? I wonder why they didn't put them in notebooks.
Yeah, makes sense. We'll make them sturdy. But yeah, I always use the 17-inch for LAN parties, and at home I had a 21-inch.
There you go. All right. All right, so let's get a move on, Mike.
Quick recap of the monitor. So basically we talked about everything.
Pretty much, yeah.
We also have a quick spec sheet, but I think we also covered most of this already. Here you can also see the connectors, but Peter already showed them to you on camera.
Exactly, yep. Yeah, and again, you can always find all the detailed specs and everything like that on the webpage, msi.com, and you search for that product and you'll find all of that.
And then you don't have Peter standing in front of the details, that also helps.
Oh man, I can't.
It only works to a certain extent.
I can only block so much, guys, sorry.
By the way, before we continue, we're gonna pick our first winner for the giveaway.
I was gonna say, and can you put then? Yeah, exactly. Because I put this one here also to kind of complete the look of
It does look good with
beautiful white monitor, obviously, and then when you have that, we also want to use the white build. So,
what do you guys think of how this looks?
If you're into that, and I know, for example, Mankit, he has a full white build at home as well. PC, so it's like, if that's what you're going for, I mean, then having a white monitor, especially if it's kind of close to each other, just completes the look, doesn't it?
By the way, is the PC switched on?
Yes and no. I mean, the power button is blinking, so I guess it's in standby mode. This actually, I mean, I just powered this on, but this is actually connected to the Maestro case, the monitor.
Okay, yeah. Because
kind of
I
cheating a little bit there.
There we go. Because I saw the RGB was blinking, but the fan was off.
Yeah.
For the giveaway, if you haven't participated yet, go to msi.com/2/insider, or if you're watching on Twitch or YouTube, you can also follow the direct link that our bot puts in the chat once every 5 minutes.
I hope it is, actually. Did we check if it's...
Yeah, I checked. It should be working.
Okay, good.
At least the bot was responding to my message, so I hope it also drops it in the chat.
All right. Let us know if it doesn't. Then
if it doesn't, then we
manually
will
do it.
Yeah. It will lead to Gleam. Within Gleam, you can perform several actions. The more you perform, the bigger chance you have to win. And if you're a returning visitor, make sure to claim your loyalty bonus.
Exactly.
And our first winner for one of the Steam wallet codes, Peter, I will make it a little bit bigger for you, and then the honor is all yours.
Okay. Oh, this one's easy. No. Well, almost. Philinux. Congratulations, Philinux.
Congratulations. I saw Philinux earlier in chat.
Yes. Yeah, well, he's a regular viewer, isn't he?
Yeah.
I recognize the name, so.
Congrats. You won our first Steam wallet code. Keep an eye out on your mailbox, then we'll email the code to you
Always nice
in the
to
coming
have a little
days.
Bit of extra Steam credit.
Yeah, with some instructions on how to redeem it.
Yes.
And then for us, it's time to continue with the second monitor.
Isn't it? Okay, well,
so you can take this away. That was enough white for today.
Yes.
It looks pretty though.
Give me a moment. I'll just...
But we're going to continue with today's black model, and that's the MPG274 URF QD.
Let me try to not break this.
So the color, of course, is not the only difference. It has a different panel, a lot of similar specs, but this one, of course, has quantum dot. And it also has some additional features that the MAG model does not have. We will go through them in a minute when Peter got the monitor. But let's first unbox it.
There you go. All right, so...
What's that on the side? The red thing.
What is what on the side?
For on the front of the box.
Oh, this. Nothing.
Oh, some tape. That was from the peeling from the other monitor.
No. Actually, that was it was the bag with the little screws to fix
the bag.
it. Fix it to the base. Anyway, I had to borrow that from this one. So here we have the MPG 274 URF QD. So I don't think we have to explain too much about this, but Mike will go into more detail, obviously, about some of the more detailed specs. Let me open up the box.
While Peter unboxes it, let's
tries to keep the box
to the quantum dot. Because this one has a different panel. It's a quantum dot panel, so that one has an additional layer in there. It will basically enhance the panel, give you better colors, but also a wider color gamut. So if Peter moves to the side a little bit, lower, yeah, there we go. There you can see the coverage that it has in the, in the different color spaces. So it covers 98% of the DCI P3 color gamut, 99% of the Adobe RGB color gamut, and 145% of sRGB. So also if you want to do more color critical work, then this can be a very nice option. It also has some nice presets in the OSD where you can directly switch between DCI P3, Adobe RGB, sRGB, etc.
Even more vivider color.
Yes. Later on we'll also show you a bit of a compare between the two. So you know what you can expect if you go for a regular LCD monitor, rapid IPS in this case, or a quantum dot version. So how's the unboxing going, Peter?
Nicely.
So all the cables are black now.
You guys can't see that much, but yeah, it's wow, that's actually way too bright. Anyway, yeah, so indeed I've got pretty much everything out. So I've got the base and the stand and the power brick and the power cable.
It's a Mickey Mouse cable, right?
Sorry?
Mickey Mouse cable?
I'm just checking, because the last one actually wasn't. Yeah, this one is, yeah. When you don't know, if you don't know what Mickey Mouse is, see what happens if I get closer, but yeah.
This is what we call a Mickey Mouse cable.
It won't,
It's a bit hard with focusing. Yeah.
Yeah, all right, anyway.
By the way, I think Disney's patent on Mickey Mouse expired recently, right?
Think. Did it? Wow, okay.
So now I think we can actually call this a Mickey Mouse
I was
cable.
going to say, yeah, wait, maybe this is more clear. Can you switch to the mobile cam? Maybe I can...
Yeah, I can.
Like, go ahead, tell me if you don't see Mickey Mouse here.
Yeah,
right?
the Mickey Mouse cable.
Exactly, there you go. So yeah, other than that, yeah, just, I mean, this is really easy. Obviously, I think this has been going for quite a long time, but you just have like a thumb screw at the bottom of the base, and you just put it on and basically tighten the thumb screw a little bit until you can't turn it anymore, and then just put the lip flat, and there you go.
Rurutu says Disney lawyers are coming.
Yeah,
Well, I think
right.
for a Mickey Mouse there is not much use anymore. Maybe for other Disney figures, but the patent expired. So
I'll take your word for it, Mike.
yeah, there was actually a lot of Disney didn't like it because there were some horror movies with like replicas of Mickey Mouse and stuff launching because they could do it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it was allowed now.
Yeah, it was allowed now. But yeah, I haven't seen them personally, but.
I mean, I've seen a lot of them, but they were genuine Mickey Mouse movies.
Oh, the genuine ones. Yeah, I've seen a couple of those.
Yeah,
but not the horror ones.
Like, weren't they supposed to be horror then?
Some of them were quite scary.
Some of them.
Legendary Fable says Disney bought MSI too. Damn.
Oh.
They could have informed us about that.
At least can we then do a co-work with some of the really awesome IP that they have?
Yeah, they do have some nice IP for sure.
I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing, you know, some people that work at Disney here, some actors.
Skeet says that is the standard for some laptops. Yeah, the Mickey Mouse cable is very common for laptops.
Yes.
Nowadays, we see a bit of a transition, of course, to USB Type-C. That's mostly for business-oriented laptops, though, because power draw for gaming notebooks is still a bit too high, usually. The ones with discrete graphics. But yeah, the Mickey Mouse cable's still very, very common there. Gigi Rildo is asking, is there other giveaway during this stream because I already joined? We will have several drawings throughout the stream for the Steam Wallet code. So if you already signed up earlier today, then there is no need to do anything again. If you joined in a previous week, then you need to sign up again. It's a weekly sign up basically.
Yes.
The story ends says missed opportunity to put Mickey Mouse ears on the monitor. It's actually a good idea. Maybe we can now.
Who knows?
But maybe that's pushing it.
Exactly. And also, I'm not sure who you're trying to appeal then. If you're targeting the right audience, right?
I would like Mickey Mouse ears on the monitor.
I know, but you're the type of person that goes to Disneyland and like runs around with those ears, right?
It's been ages since I've been to Disneyland.
There you go.
Huh? Should go again sometime.
Okay, well, here it is. Let me...
All assembled.
Well, yeah, exactly. Actually, before I do this, maybe we can again.
Let's see if the camera survives when you plug it in again.
Well, not just that, but let's look at the connectors as well before we move on, shall we?
Yeah.
Oh, let's go.
So you see a couple more connectors in this model.
Exactly, yeah. So let's go from left to right. So this is the power jack, of course, power cable. This is a USB upstream. So basically what you need to control some of the monitor, like the controls of the monitor itself through the PC with mouse and keyboard.
Do you know what type of port it is?
What is it called? USB Type B or something?
Yes, correct. It's
Type B, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I recognize this because all my old printers, like DeskJets and stuff like
Yeah,
that,
correct.
used to have
They
this.
definitely use this.
Exactly, yeah. And also, because of you have this, you can also use the USB hub. So you've got 2 USB ports here. I don't know exactly what version they are. I would guess USB 2, but
this is USB 2.0, but the ports themselves are Type A.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Sorry, I was meaning the version, so basically the speed you can expect and stuff like that.
Yeah, and these are actually mostly there for KVM functionality.
Yeah,
so you would, for example, connect your peripherals like keyboard and mouse.
Yeah.
And of course, for peripherals, 2.0 is well sufficient.
Yeah, exactly. Right, there you have one HDMI port, a second HDMI port, a DisplayPort port, and a Type-C.
So the HDMI and the DisplayPort are all same specifications as with the monitor we've just shown you, the white one.
Yeah.
But the Type-C is slightly different.
Yeah, and maybe I can show you that if it will. Max.
Yeah, it kind of works.
65.
Yeah. So the white model, the MAG one, was limited to 15 watts of power delivery, and this one can deliver up to 65 watts.
There you go.
Well, that's actually pretty sharp.
I know.
Oh, whoa! What was that?
I guess that was switching to a different lens.
Ah, okay.
So that's what I guess. So I'm not sure. Anyway.
But yeah, 65 watts, and this means you can, for example, power certain notebooks with it. You can power the MSI Claw with it.
Yep.
You can basically a lot of devices that support power delivery, but need more juice than 15 watts. This monitor would be suitable to power it.
Yep. And last but not least, we have the audio jack, 3.5mm. So for your headphones, for example.
Yeah.
So a pretty complete package right here of everything you will need.
There we go.
So now let me connect it up.
Besides, folks, has headset jack on the back. It has a 3.5mm headphone output as well.
Yes.
So basically, because the display inputs, so either DisplayPort or HDMI, they also carry an audio signal, and you can use the audio jack to basically get that audio signal through an analog way to your headphones as well. Simi says, thanks for the heads up. Just send an email to the MSI eShop here in Germany. Yeah, very good idea.
Yep.
And I hope they can still help you with that exact model.
I mean, the eShop also may be a little bit different in terms of what they offer compared to like the regular channel, because we try not to compete with our partners, obviously, in the channel. So,
but maybe they also know what the channel has.
Probably,
they
yeah,
are located
they
in
should,
Germany.
yeah. But it depends on what you asked, if they will offer it on the eShop or if it's available in the channel at all. But yeah.
Thomas is asking, does it have integrated speakers? No. There are no speakers inside this monitor.
But would you really want that?
I wouldn't.
I guess you would, otherwise you wouldn't ask. But like speakers in a monitor is always a bit of a.
Like you're very limited in size,
yes.
And smaller speakers usually means lower quality.
And you don't want.
There are some exceptions, but those are very expensive exceptions.
You don't want them to use the panel as a big speaker, like to make it vibrate. That's probably not good for your eyesight.
But I'm curious what the rest thinks. Would you want to see integrated speakers in a gaming monitor or not? Okay. Or would you always use external speakers or a headset or whatever? Because I always use external speakers or sometimes a headset, but just when I actually noticed that so many people, just while gaming on their own, they use a headset. I always use speakers. I only put on a headset when I want to communicate with someone on Discord or something. What do you do, Peter?
It depends. It depends on the type of game. So if I'm playing something like Counter-Strike, even though I don't want to communicate with others, I will wear my headset.
Yeah.
But I
okay.
will just unplug the mic. It's like a separate thing, so I can just unplug it.
So you more use it like headphones, basically.
Yeah, basically, yeah. But if it's like more like a laid back, I mean, I've been playing Manor Lords as well, like many people, I think, for the past week. I actually took a couple of days off to do that as well. And obviously, that's the type of game, because it's a strategy game, that I kind of want to, bask in the ambiance, as it were. So I'll put like I've got like a really old, really nice stereo system that I used to have back when I was single, but I kept it, and I didn't want to, sell it for cheap, let's say, because you don't really get for secondhand.
Back when you were single,
really
so you
much.
could spend a lot of money on things like that.
It was too big to fit like downstairs in the TV area, so I kind of moved it upstairs to my PC, and so I got it there. And so that gives really nice sound as well. It's a hi-fi system, so the sound quality of that is just really nice as well. And so that's what I do with games like that.
I see some people go. Derek is saying, when I don't want to disturb other people, I use in-ear monitors, or when I need to listen for a phone call, I use speaker surround. You use speaker surround for a phone call?
Really?
Interesting.
Okay.
Senpai is saying, I don't want speakers, give me a ton of RGB. Fair point.
All right, well, fair enough.
But yeah, I do get what you mean with like competitive gaming, but usually when I play a competitive game, I also use voice chat. So by default, I will use a headset.
Yeah. But it also makes more sense because you get more direct feedback in terms of sound and more precise, at least that's how I see it. So
also depends a bit on what kind of speakers you use.
Yeah, and it depends maybe on the scenario as well, because I've got 2 young children who might be watching, so if so, hi. But they obviously, when it's bedtime for them, and then in the evening I play, I don't want to make a whole lot of noise, so I tend to put on headphones more often.
Unless they were annoying, then you max out your subwoofer.
No, because then it just ruins my
They
gaming.
get more annoying.
Well, not just that, but you have to go tend to them. So yeah, it's kind of like shooting yourself in the foot if you do that. But yeah. Anyway.
Cashier Ready also says external. Skeets has a good point as well. Headset does provide more immersion. Yeah, it also depends, of course, on the speaker set you have. I, for example, use 2.0 studio speakers, and they are very nice for music, but they're not specifically immersive in games. Whereas if you have a full-fledged surround system, like Peter just mentioned,
I just have 4 speakers basically. So I have 2 big like towers, let's say, right? And then I have 2 lighter ones, which are still like those are the bookshelf model, I guess you'd call them.
Yeah.
Like in the rear, so it's a it's a 4.0 system. So
but you still have speakers around you.
Exactly. It's not a 5.1 or 7.1 system. It's just exactly. It's kind of still around, but it's only stereo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends a bit, because of course you have like very extensive speaker systems with the Dolby Atmos and stuff.
True.
Those can still make it very immersive. If you don't use them, then I get that a headset will provide more immersion usually than, for example, a 2.0 set like I'm using.
Yeah.
Kenneth says, I just use Bluetooth earbuds most of the time.
Me
Aren't
too,
you bothered
actually.
by the latency? Because that's what always annoys me with Bluetooth earbuds or
Me too,
headphones.
But I do that at work most of the time. I just
Yeah, when
have,
listening
like,
to music,
in-ears,
it's fine,
so
but for gaming...
But for gaming, not really, no.
Yeah, the latency also annoys me.
Yeah.
Because I have those Sony noise-cancelling headphones, and they're very nice to listen to music and podcasts when I'm walking outside, whatever.
Yeah.
But for gaming, I tried it once, but it was not my cup of tea.
I guess it's also what you're used to, right?
Yeah,
As
but
with many
specifically
things.
because of that latency. That was what really annoyed me.
But I guess for laid-back games, when there's no big timing things going on, although...
For NO 1800, I could see myself use it.
Well,
but
I'm still thinking like there would be, if you put something down, it will still make a noise, or if you click and there's like a latency, you will notice that and you will get annoyed by that.
That's true, that's true.
All right, GG Real Deal says he bought a MSI GH50 headset and he likes it really much. Well,
I'm glad you like it.
We're happy to hear that indeed. So that's a pretty nice headset indeed. It has some really good RGB as well, so be sure to give that a try.
So it's extra FPS, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, let's have a look at the monitor. So
let's do some demonstrations, because I first wanted to introduce you to one of the features that sets this monitor apart, of course, from the MAG model. This one has the quantum dot display, and that one also provides you with the possibility of enabling the premium color mode, and that will give you richer colors on these monitors compared to a default setting or a standard non-quantum dot monitor. So let's see this up close.
Yes. So actually there is a color profile. Can you? Oh, okay. Maybe I can.
Do you have the capture plugged in? Because then I can.
No, I don't actually.
Okay.
But you would probably shouldn't see it then either, should you?
It depends on if you use the software version or not.
No, but like the capture, the difference in color.
Okay. No, then I cannot. But
Yeah. Maybe with my phone, because I
yeah.
think we established that would.
Yeah, that works.
Exactly. So there is a setting. I mean, this you can do it with the mouse, which I'm doing now, basically. So it's a software, but it's basically the same as when you press on the corner. It's kind of the same thing in terms of software.
This is actually a sneak peek, and what we will talk about after this, because that is the gaming intelligence app that you're using.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, maybe then I'll wait.
No. You can continue. We will talk about this later. First, demonstrate the premium color.
Okay, well, anyway, so you've got some, in the gaming tab here, you've got some different profiles. So there's game mode, it says, and so these are color profiles. So there's premium color, user, FPS, racing, RTS, and RPG. So these are some profiles that have been pre-selected. Now, just switching between premium and user I'll switch back a bit so you guys can see the whole screen. So this is user. And this is premium, and it's very difficult to capture this with any kind of camera, because like everything captures it differently than the human eye. But the premium color just looks so more vivid and so much nicer. The color, it really makes it pop, and I guess, I mean, you can see something happening, but it doesn't really do it justice.
It of course also depends on what kind of screen you're currently watching this live stream on.
Yeah.
Because some screens will be much better at displaying this than others.
Exactly. But you probably are seeing some kind of difference there.
MPR T and I is saying, please add sRGB, need an accurate default. We actually do have that setting.
Yeah.
If you go to professional, Peter.
Yeah, indeed. So one below here.
Yeah.
Pro mode.
So first we talked about the different color gamuts. You will actually find the calibrated presets in here. So you have sRGB, you have Adobe RGB, and then if you go lower, there is also DCI P3.
Yeah, so you can actually do that. So
you
that's for color accuracy. But that might not. It depends. If that's what you like, then obviously
depends on what you will be doing on it. If you want a game, I think the premium color mode is really nice. If you're looking for the best color accuracy, then indeed the sRGB, Adobe RGB, DCI P3 presets would be better. Yeah. So for color critical work, like Rurutu is, for example, mentioning Photoshop, then yes, then it's definitely better to, for example, use Adobe RGB instead of the premium color mode.
Yes. But yeah, that's a big difference, as you can see, with the gaming.
It really makes the colors pop a bit more.
Yeah. It just makes them way more vivid. It's kind of like turning QD on and off, almost.
Yeah. So here, for example, you see the side by side, and you also see that the colors are a bit more intense with the premium color mode. Not necessarily more accurate, because that's where where the sRGB, Adobe RGB, and DCI P3 color modes come in. Yeah. But it does make it a little bit more pop, a little bit more, basically. Peter already gave you a sneak peek of this, and that's the Gaming Intelligence app. So earlier he showed you the USB uplink. That was the USB Type-C port you saw on the bottom of the screen.
No, the Type-B.
Or the Type-B, sorry.
Yes.
I said Type-C.
Yeah.
Type-B, the bigger one, basically. Is that what B stands for? Type big?
I don't know. It's big and square. It looks very bulky.
Bulky?
Hey,
yeah, it's also a good one. It's also a good one. Big, bulky, whatever. USB Type B. That's the uplink from the PC to the monitor. And this allows you to do a couple of things with the monitor that otherwise you wouldn't be able to do. And one of them is the Gaming Intelligence app. And this is basically the OSD that you would usually control with a joystick on the back of the monitor. You can now also do through software, so you don't have to fiddle around with the joystick anymore.
I can show you that real quick.
You can directly do this with your keyboard and mouse.
Let's see. It takes a couple of seconds.
Yeah.
Hello. All right. So basically, just you search for an app called Gaming Intelligence, And there you go. And that's basically, it gives you all the options and even some more with split window and things like that. So some more productivity tools, let's say. As it does with if you access the thumbstick at the back of the monitor. So here on the left are the color profiles. So this is, premium color. Again, user FPS.
You basically see the same switch that you just saw with the regular OSD.
Although here you already have, instead of having to switch to Pro and a different category, let's say, you already have these other, like the color accuracy profiles as well. So that's pretty cool.
Can you click one? You can see that it's a big difference. For example, sRGB. You see, that's a huge difference. And I would say sRGB, like it is made for color accuracy, but it's less intense.
Yeah. Adobe.
Yeah, and DCI-P3.
But yeah, you can see there's a pretty big difference.
But this is something you can just fiddle around with and see what suits your needs best.
Yep. Yeah, and you have all the options. So maybe you can switch to the rest of the presentation. We can go through the other options here as well.
Yeah. Because you can actually also use this with different profiles. So Peter already showed you the different presets there, but you can link profiles to this as well. And this will basically, when you boot up a certain game, it will automatically load a preset profile that you made for that game. So for example, I think, Peter, it was Tarkov you mentioned. That one doesn't have a crosshair, right?
Not sure, actually. I don't play it, but yeah, I think.
Like for example, when you have a game without a crosshair, then you can make a profile that automatically enables the crosshair when you boot up the game. So that's something you can, for example, do. Also, you can, of course, change all other settings based on that specific game. So it will automatically detect if you boot that game and adjust the settings accordingly based on your preset. So here you see a couple of examples: League of Legends, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, Counter-Strike 2. You may have completely different settings for each of those games, and it will automatically change those settings to the correct ones when you boot up your game.
Correct.
Other stuff you can, of course, do. Are you still targeting the...
Yeah, I am. I could. What do you
like
want me
for
to show?
the things we previously talked about, like the smart crosshair, the optic scope, you can also easily enable in this.
From here, indeed. So here's the crosshair. There you go. So it's in the middle. And this is a smart crosshair, so it will auto, I've put it on auto here as well, so it will automatically switch.
Can you drag the window away? Then it probably changes. Yeah.
Not really. But I think maybe if I put like a...
Yeah, there we go. You need a bigger change in color, yeah.
Yes. It already changes like this. Now it's a little bit light bluish, and then it's darker, so. Yeah. It will, I think it reads a frame buffer or something like that, so it will try to choose a very contrasting color to whatever is in the background. Yeah, so that. You have the optic scope here as well. Oh.
By the way, the reason why we show this with the camera is that we cannot capture this. So the smart crosshair will only be visible on the screen. And if I would move to the capture, you see the rest of the screen, but not the optic scope, not the smart crosshair. This is really only on the monitor.
Yeah. So let me turn that off again. Crosshair as well. There we go. A lot of other things, so low blue light, HDCR, Type-C power delivery charge, which is on by default. AI vision, adaptive sync, all those things can be changed here. So yeah, it's very easy to access, and this is a profile, I believe, ray tracing. So that's also, it's optimized then for ray tracing. So this is like a game profile. So that was what Mike just mentioned. So if you want to add a new profile, you can either add the name and link to the executable, or and add a lot of, the template basically, and then go from there. So if you say, look, I want to use premium color as the default, and I don't know, CS, Counter-Strike, whatever. And then you can create the profile. So as long as you stay in here, any change that you make, so if you enable the crosshair by default, for example, it will then trigger by default when the game starts up. So I'll go back to standard.
Another feature we already touched on with when we discussed the ports is the power delivery, because this monitor can support up to 65 watts, but it can also do the display signals simultaneously. And Peter actually has a very nice notebook there.
Yes.
That also supports both power delivery charging as well as DisplayPort alt mode, and that's how you get the display signal to the monitor. This way you can basically dock the notebook to the monitor, because it also has KVM functionality. So when you, for example, plug in the keyboard and the mouse to the monitor on the USB Type A ports there, and then you plug you just plug the notebook in via USB Type C, then you'll basically get everything through that single cable. You get the display signal from your notebook to your monitor, you get power from the monitor to the notebook, but you also get the signal from your mouse and keyboard to the notebook as well. So for example, if you have a gaming system at home, but you also work from home and you use a notebook for that, you just plug it in, you switch from, for example, DisplayPort to USB Type C, and it will also switch your mouse and keyboard to your notebook in that case.
Correct.
So let's demonstrate this.
Yeah, so this is a laptop. I'm not sure what this one is called, but
there's a bit of green in your background, isn't there?
Is there? Here?
Yeah?
Yeah, it could be.
On the top left?
Oh, here. Yeah, it's a tree.
It's a tree.
Yeah.
It's a black tree.
But anyway, so I've got the USB Type-C cable that's connected to the bottom of the monitor here. And obviously this is a laptop. Now it's, let's see if I can show you guys this. Maybe better with a close-up cam as well. Then I can show the status. And that it is in fact not charging at the moment, right? So it's 62% there, but it's not charging. And when I connect this USB-C, here we go, to the laptop's power port, there you go. And then now it is charging. It is giving an error, not sure what that is, but it should go away. So there we go. And now it's charging the laptop. And now what I need to do is, in the monitor, select the, oh wait, that's a different one. I need to do it like that. Select the Type-C as the input. Et voila. And now it's, well, in this point it's duplicating the screen. But I can also extend it, so yeah, anyway, but it's completely connected. And as you can see, the most important thing there as well is it is actually charging the laptop. So 52 minutes. I mean, I had it connected for a couple of minutes before and it went like 10% up, so it goes quite fast. Now obviously this notebook isn't very powerful, let's say. It's not a gaming laptop. It's I believe 14-inch, more like a.
It's one from our modern series.
Exactly, a modern series. It's more like a professional laptop that you take with you if you're working. But that's just to show the principle as well. It's the only laptop we had on hand that could do this kind of
you
charging.
can, for example, also do this with the MSI Claw, the handheld gaming device that also supports this functionality. So you can just plug it in and use it there.
Yeah. So I mean that's pretty cool as well. So now it's charging and yeah, you're basically on the big screen at the same time, and then you can connect easily your peripherals so that you can basically work from on a big screen, or have this one to the side if you extend them, and then have your notebook. You don't need a separate power brick or something for connected to your laptop. You just
you only need one cable for everything.
Exactly. Yeah, there you go. So it's really easy.
I see a question in chat. FatDogs8 is asking, so what is MPR T again? MPR T is moving picture response time, and basically this reduces motion blur. So for example, if you have it switched off and you experience like this ghosting effect or blurriness, then you can switch this on in order to reduce this a bit.
Yeah, it's not always, I think, better for visual fidelity.
No, you should fiddle around this.
Exactly.
I would personally only switch it on if you really struggle with motion blur.
Yeah, if you think that indeed something's wrong and you need to check it. Otherwise, you always need to check your refresh rate first.
Yeah, for sure.
With things like that.
Yeah.
So. Okay. Oh yeah, one of the other things I actually forgot to highlight on the white monitor, but we can pull it up in a minute, is there's RGB on the back. So let's see if we can actually show that. There you go, in the this nice arrow shape here.
And in this case, because you have the USB uplink, it can also fully support Mystic Light.
Exactly, yeah. So we can actually sync it with the rest of the PC. So it's also a really nice touch.
By the way, that is not the case for the white one. So that one does also have RGB, and you can set certain colors, certain effects, but you have to define this yourself through the OSD. Whereas because the MPG model has the USB uplink, can be synced through Mystic Light within MSI Center. So if you have other Mystic Light compatible components, like for example your motherboard, your graphics card, your DDR RAM, maybe you have a liquid cooler with RGB, all those kind of things, a case, then you can sync everything up through Mystic Light and make it look very pretty.
Exactly. Right, so let me just get rid of this.
So as you can see, the USB uplink actually gives the MPG quite an extensive feature set. So the MAG is really nice for the basics. If you want to have more of the premium functionality, that will be when the MPG comes in. Another function that comes because of that USB uplink is the possibility to update firmware. So in case there are any optimizations in the future, then we can release a new firmware version, and you can actually update this yourself because of that USB uplink. I would personally only update it if it adds any value for you. So for example, you want to have, there is maybe an updated color profile or anything like that you want to use. If everything is working as you like, you're not experiencing any difficulties, then I would just stick to what you're using at that point. But at least this gives the possibility for firmware upgrade over USB.
Yes.
Quick recap again of the feature set of the MPG 274 URF QD. So Ultra HD resolution, rapid IPS panel with quantum dot. It supports 160 Hz and it has a 0.5 millisecond gray-to-gray response time. In terms of ergonomics, this is the same as what we've shown you with the white monitor. So we can do the same things in terms of swivel, height adjustment, pivot, tilt, etc. That's all identical. So basically the shell of the monitor is the same between those monitors. It has the same joystick on the back as well, but because of the USB uplink, you can also use the Gaming Intelligence app. It supports Display HDR 400, and you see all the wide color gamuts for DCI-P3, Adobe RGB, and sRGB as well. And of course, USB Type-C with 65 watts power delivery.
Yeah. See a question in chat. Zayed Volk was asking, still kind of confused, how does 4K out of your GPU relate to the monitor size? Like, will you get more FPS on a smaller monitor? No.
No, same.
Exactly. The resolution is the same in terms of your GPU output. That it doesn't matter if it's displayed on a 100-inch monitor or a 27-inch. It doesn't matter because it has to process the exact amount of the exact same amount of pixels. That's what the 4K resolution means. It just means a certain set of pixels, and the bigger the monitor you display that on, the more noticeable the pixels will be. Now 4K is a pretty high resolution, so you can have a pretty big monitor and still be, it still looks quite okay. If you were to, for example, have, like if somebody has a big monitor that and it's probably 4K, but then you switch to 1080p resolution, you should give that a try. Then you can see that really the pixels per inch thing starts to matter. So the pixels per inch, we talked about that before, is basically, I don't know what the exact measurement is, but like from a certain amount of pixels per inch, you will, and maybe this differs per person, but you will start to notice individual pixels. Like on older laptops and older monitors, you will very much notice that, because like they are lower resolution, they might still have some like a higher size screen. So there you can almost see, well, not almost, you can see the individual pixels, especially if you get up close. But even if sitting back, right? And that's where it really becomes part of a choice, I think.
Skeets actually has a question that ties in with this.
Yes.
What is the pixel density of this monitor?
Okay.
I quickly did the math for this. Because of course it's a Ultra HD resolution on 27 inches, and that results in around 163. A little over 163 pixels per inch.
PPI.
Yeah, PPI indeed.
Exactly.
So that's the pixel density
Anyway,
on both of these monitors, because they have the same diagonal, same resolution.
Exactly. But given the same resolution, it doesn't matter what size your panel is for your graphics card's performance.
No.
It should be exactly the same.
That's indeed identical.
Yes.
Quick recap of the specs. So yeah, you see 27 is indeed 69 centimeters.
Yeah.
That's nice, isn't it?
Also in native 4K on my monitor, I cannot see the letters because they're so small. Yeah, that's where scaling comes in. So actually Windows has, and most games have indeed like a UI scaling tool where you can kind of, because I mean, especially on a smaller monitor, higher resolution means everything gets smaller in relation. And it's still sharp, but it's so small that it can be hard to read. So you can basically just, put the, what is it called? The scaling up, meaning like 1.25 or 1.5 to whatever looks more comfortable to you to read. So yeah, I think a lot of people do that actually, because at some point it becomes so small, so fiddly, that it's indeed very hard to actually read and make out.
By the way, before we're going to continue, let's do another giveaway.
Go ahead.
We are giving away several Steam Wallet codes today. You can participate through msr.com/2/insider or follow the direct link that our bot puts in the chat on Twitch and YouTube once every 5 minutes. Oh, it's getting cozy, Peter.
Yes. yeah, I thought we would do a side-by-side.
Yeah, I will move here a bit. And our next winner for today, Peter, I will make it bigger for you again, and the honor is all yours, because this is a difficult one.
This one's a little bit more, but let me just quickly, okay. Abdel Latif.
Abdel Latif, congratulations.
Congrats.
You also won a Steam Wallet code, so please keep an eye on your mailbox, then we will email the code to you in the coming days.
And have fun with the extra funds.
Yeah, enjoy it. Congrats.
Right, so here we go. I've tried to put them as flush as I can together, so that they're kind of at the same angle towards the camera, towards you guys. And I know there's a little bit of green in there, so it's hard to spot, maybe, the differences.
With your other camera, we don't have the green screen issue anymore, because we have chroma keys switched off.
Exactly. Now, what I've done is I've actually duplicated this.
Is premium color enabled?
Let me check. Give me a second. Where was it? Wait. What's going on? There you go. Right, so we want something
FatDocs actually has an interesting request as well. Could you make the room and picture dark and show the typical IPS edge bleed? Yeah, we can make the room dark after this. Let's first show you the colors, and then we will switch off some lights.
So let's put this all on full screen, make sure that we have everything on 4K quality.
This looks very funky with the green in there.
I know. And let me just quickly check if we have premium color enabled or not. Yep. Okay. Yes. So these are just, some color examples that we grab from YouTube. But you can already see, I mean, these are identical, like it's playing the identical same YouTube movie, both on the left and right monitor at the exact same time. So any difference that you can see in color, that's the difference that you will see in the actual color reproduction of the screen. So
can you shift your angle a bit? Because the reflection, of course, also does slightly influence.
I can try. maybe go from the other side as well. Obviously these being both IPS panels as well, so the viewing angle should be pretty damn good, as you can see.
Yeah.
But yeah, the color on the right screen, especially if you look at the red, you do see a big difference. And so it can lose a little bit of detail in terms of shadow, but the color is way more vivid on the right monitor for me.
Yeah, the colors are a bit richer on that one.
Yeah, and it's always difficult to capture this with the camera, to be fair. But this is where QD or quantum dot really shines in terms of the if you have like a scene with something burning or something like in a big orange glow, you can almost, with QD, you can kind of feel like you almost feel the heat from it.
See, a question from Lefuentes is asking HDMI 2.1 versus DisplayPort. What is better? Kind of depends on your situation. Like if you want to connect a console, you will basically use HDMI by default because it doesn't offer any DisplayPort. On your PC, I would basically suggest to, if you have the possibility, to go with DisplayPort by default. Main reason being, maybe you know, Peter, I know AMD does variable refresh rate, so in AMD's situation, FreeSync over both DisplayPort or HDMI.
Yes.
But I believe G-Sync for NVIDIA is limited to DisplayPort, right?
I'm not sure. I don't think so, actually.
No, they also open it up for HDMI, because I know in the past it was only DisplayPort.
I'm pretty sure.
But it could be that it's now also possible on HDMI. Then it wouldn't make much of a difference.
I'm not sure, actually, like you. So
but personally, I always connect it to DisplayPort just to be sure.
Yeah. Well, it used to be that DisplayPort, I mean, before the HDMI 2.1 or what is it, or 2.0B or something.
Yeah.
It used to not have enough bandwidth either to have, what was it, 4K 120?
Yeah.
Exactly. So there.
But now, of course, these have 2.1, 48 gigabits per second.
Yes.
So for the resolution and the refresh rate, you should be fine.
Exactly. And DisplayPort was always a bit higher bandwidth capable, at least in the past few years.
Still is, I think.
Yeah, and I also always err towards the DisplayPort because even though I might have the display connectors, let's say, right? They might support like HDMI 2.1, but like cables that I have lying around are probably old for a lot of people. That you kind of save up old cables or something like that, and they might not have the bandwidth or the spec to support that, because you also need to make sure that HDMI, your cables are able to support that amount of bandwidth.
So personally, I would say if you connect a PC, use DisplayPort just to be safe.
Yeah.
For a console, of course, HDMI because it's your only option.
To be honest, I think this is also one of the reasons why, if you look at modern graphics cards in the past few years, the amount of DisplayPort versus HDMI connectors on a graphics card is purposefully that there's 3 DisplayPort and 1 HDMI.
Yeah, correct.
So DisplayPort is the more potent, I would say, and dependable of the 2 connectors. HDMI is also fine, but I would see that as one of the signs on the wall or writings on the wall as well. That, for example, other companies, NVIDIA, AMD, also kind of see DisplayPort as, the preferred option, let's say.
Yeah. For example, I use triple monitor. All of them are also connected by DisplayPort.
Yeah. So. Yeah, and also here I can cycle through the color profile, or at least let's say go back to the normal user option, let's say. Maybe not on this scene because there's not a lot of color here. Maybe I can move it to another one. Oh, there we go. Now there's color coming. Right.
No, yeah, metadata is asking what's better. Well, that's up to you to decide. But for me, the quantum dot looks a bit better.
Yeah, now it's a bit closer because I turned the premium color option off. So now it's actually, there's still a difference, especially towards the red. It's quite visible for me. But if I turn the premium color option on, it's going to be even more visible. So now the color difference is way more amplified.
Yeah, and also the quantum dot display, of course, has a wider color gamut that it supports. So if you want to do color critical work, that would also be the more logical choice.
Beneficial, yeah. But you need to still select the right profile, obviously.
Edwin K is asking, how many hertz and does it have RGB? 160 hertz and yes.
Yes, both of them. Actually, maybe I could show it on the back here as well. RGB.
And the QD model has Mystic Light support, so you can sync it up. The MAG model, the white one, can be controlled through the OSD, but not synced because it doesn't have the USB uplink.
Yeah. Also, the left side there, you can see clear difference in color.
Graphenol is asking QD, right or left? Right is QD. The black one is the QD. And left is non-QD.
Yeah, I'm trying to make sure I kind of have it flush on, because that's always the best for monitors if you look at it straight at a 90-degree angle.
So chat, what do you guys think? What looks better from your perspective?
That's always tricky, right? Like you said, it also depends on what kind of monitor you guys are looking on this content.
Average Eagle says left. Okay.
Right.
It's possible, especially like with the premium color profile activated. It is, of course, a subjective thing. It is more intense on the colors on the right, but not everyone likes that.
Yeah. So it really depends. That's why I always tell everybody, like, if they ask me for advice, I can tell them, well, on paper, this monitor or that monitor is better, but it's a very personal thing. It's very subjective. So I always tell them, go and look in a store if you can, and look at it in real life, and then pick the one that you find the most beautiful in terms of reproduction, the one that you find most satisfying.
NRT says hard to tell over a stream camera. Yes, for sure. And also because, of course, you will all be using different displays to show this.
Yep. And
so it will look different for all of you guys.
Yeah, and there's compression going on, obviously, so it's...
Friggy Name says, it's weird, both has better at times. Yeah, also makes sense. In certain scenes you may prefer one, and in other scenes you may prefer the other.
Yeah.
Edwin is also asking, how's the temperature of the monitor? Peter, can you feel?
The color temperature or what?
No, the actual temperature.
Well, nothing going on here. It's
maybe display some flames on the screen.
It's not cold, but it's definitely not warm, and neither is this one. So I would expect, like, for example, if you're using the power delivery on this to power a laptop, perhaps it might heat up a little bit quicker because obviously then more power is moving through the system. But just displaying something like that, no, there's nothing really.
I think on the top of the monitor it wouldn't make a big difference anyway.
No. All right, shall I do a 4K fireplace?
Yes, let's see if it gets hot then.
Exactly. Ooh, fireworks as well. That's actually a good idea later on.
The story Ann says, if your footage looks good on my monitor, then I don't need to upgrade. That can definitely be the case. Maybe you have a very nice OLED monitor.
Yep.
I don't know. Could be.
Let's see. Let's get a bit more. That's actually underwhelming, right? It's a very modest fire.
Or a very good IPS, of course, also possible. Mira Gameplay says, is this OLED? No, these are rapid IPS panels. Left without quantum dot, right with quantum dot. We do nowadays also have several OLED models, so we also have done separate live streams about those if you're interested. Rurutu is asking, these things are using 30 or 40 watts of power? I haven't actually measured these.
No,
so I cannot give you a proper... Of course, it differs if you use power delivery on it. If you attach a notebook to it, it will use more power, but basically your notebook will be using the power and not the monitor.
No, indeed.
It also depends very much on brightness on your monitor. But I haven't measured them myself, so I don't have the exact answer.
Especially if you look at the wall on the left side here. Like here, there's a bit more, it's almost like it's showing more red, so there's a bit more ambient lighting there. Not sure if the camera can really capture it.
Tom3D2 says, do not burn monitors, please.
We're trying not to. No, indeed, but like it's there's just like there's an extra ambient kind of like I said, it's like almost as if you can feel the heat from this one. And like I said, the camera, it's very hard to capture it accurately, because looking at my camera, the screen on my camera and how it's capturing it, I actually think it looks a bit oversaturated on my camera. But if I then look at it in person, it looks, you know, less, I see more detail than I do on the camera. So it actually looks just like very nice, very warm. So that's what I mean when I say you can almost feel the heat from that if you look at it. And you can just imagine when you're playing games and you know, you're in a certain ambience, especially the warmer ones. So red and orange and yellow really seem to work very well. You know, games like Diablo, I also played with on a QD monitor. Ah man, it was just, yeah, it's just another level of, you just enjoy it way more. It just looks way more rich, the colors and everything like that.
FRC Eagle mentions right one has better blacks now. Yeah, I think for me, at least on the screen, it also looks like that.
Might be
Chronic
just
Mayhem
the
says it looks
well.
way oversaturated. Yeah, of course we're also limited to the camera capabilities.
Yeah.
Because we are capturing this with a smartphone camera.
Yes.
Which smartphone was it again?
S24 Ultra.
Okay. So Samsung one.
Yes,
Yeah.
correct. Yeah. Which also, if I believe the community, it might have some issues with the camera. So there are others that might be better, but hey.
Chronic Mayhem says it's the kind of thing you have to see in person.
Yes,
yeah, I agree.
it is.
I agree.
It is. Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's hard for us to show it in person to you right now. So we try to make the most of it. But
yeah. All right. Anything else we want to?
Yeah, we had a request to switch the lights off and switch them to black.
Switch them to black.
Yeah.
Oh. Let me see. How do we do that? Maybe
I will switch some lights off here. One moment.
Let's see if I can put a
There we go.
full black test screen on. No.
You can also do just a dead pixel tester and switch to black.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to do, but I'll need to be able to pause it, I guess. So this is white. It will switch to black pretty soon. Or it should.
Still white?
Maybe I need to click the mouse. Ah, there we go. Ah, it's unfair because there's like a monitor there which is reflecting. So, yeah, it's more reflecting than... Because there's like a monitor, there's actually two monitors.
Can you maybe adjust the angle a bit?
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Because now you're seeing the monitor reflection a lot.
Yeah. Wait, what if I turn these monitors off? If I try that?
Oh, no, don't.
No?
No, last time we did that, my stream froze.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, fair enough. So, yeah. Yeah. So that's difficult.
Wait, let me see if I can, if I have something that I can keep in front of them. I have a big monitor box here.
All right.
Okay, this is Peter passing with a big box. I'll switch my smartphone light off again.
Yeah, you'll need to tell me.
Yeah. So now you don't have the reflections. You need to move a little bit so we can see the other monitor completely. Yeah. So this is as good as we can.
Yeah, at least in the
it.
studio. Obviously, if you do it in a completely dark studio without...
On the bottom right, you still see a bit of illumination from the peripherals because the mouse and keyboard are still there.
Yeah.
But this is as dark as we can make it at this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I hope this kind of answers your question, Fatbox8. Then we will switch the lights back on again.
Put it back on.
There we go.
Yes. Wow. Okay. I see
Well,
absolutely
Well,
nothing.
bright.
Yes, very bright.
Then we have one more topic that we would like to discuss with you guys, because of course an Ultra HD monitor has a lot of pixels, but that also requires a lot of graphical processing power in order to do so.
Yes.
So we borrowed some results from TechSpot. Oh, I was wondering what was happening, but you were changing some colors in your, your monitor.
Yeah.
So these are benchmarking results from TechSpot. They tested 12 different games in 4K resolution and averaged the results out. I took this from their 4080 Super review. That's why you see that one highlighted in orange. But basically, this is a nice overview to see what you can expect on this resolution on a specific graphics card. So as you can see, the average frame rate to get 60 FPS on average throughout these 12 games, you already need a 4070 Super. So you do need a beefy graphics card in order to run an Ultra HD resolution. Of course, this is very dependent on the exact game.
Yes.
And I believe hardware or TechSpot, Hardware Unboxed, they mostly test.
It's the same.
Yeah, it's basically the written version and the YouTube version.
Exactly.
But they mostly test AAA titles, so that's also why you see relatively low averages.
Yeah.
If you play esports titles, it will usually be higher. So if you play like games like Counter-Strike, Rocket League, Valorant, what else do we have? League of Legends, all those kind of titles, they tend to be very light in your GPU, so you will see way higher frame rates.
Exactly, and it doesn't really make sense if you're going to test a graphics card, because this is part of a graphics card review, of course. They usually don't tend to test any or a lot of esports titles because you're not really testing the limits of the graphics cards. You're going to be
more
bottlenecked indeed, or stopped by the limits of the CPU way before you reach, especially on a high-end graphics card. So it's going to be limited, and everything will have, the same or near enough the same frame rate if you're going to use the exact same CPU every time. So it doesn't really make sense. So for esports titles, playing on 4K usually doesn't make a whole lot of difference. You'll still have very high FPS, depending on your settings, of course. Obviously, there are some titles like PUBG, you can turn the settings up quite high. And that could impact your frame rate, of course, but yeah, it all depends. But in general, indeed, this is like in general, if you want to put things on, I think they do this with a high preset as well, so a high graphics preset in all the games, not the highest, but a high preset. Yeah. So this is basically trying to represent, so if you want to play without too much compromise in your settings, what kind of GPU would you need at 4K?
Also, if you switch on things like ray tracing, then your frame rates may be lower again. Yeah,
but then you still have the other mitigating factors like DLSS, which could then push it back up again. So this is all without ray tracing or DLSS or FSR.
So high settings, no ray tracing, and mostly AAA titles. That's what you're currently looking at with this average. So these are mostly the higher end cards that you see, but the graph is a little bit bigger. So here you also see more mid-range target or somewhat older cards as well. As you can see, at a certain point, on average, with these games, it becomes kind of unplayable.
Yeah, I mean, without using things like DLSS, for example, or FSR on AMD cards. So there are things that you can do.
There are certain tricks, but then, of course, you're essentially running a lower resolution and upscaling it.
Yes, which, I mean, in some cases might be okay.
Yeah. But the game also needs to support it, so that's something to keep in mind.
Yeah.
But nowadays, most modern games do have
support
some
either
kind of
one,
upscaling
the other, or even both.
Or both, But it is quite demanding. So if you're on an older mid-range card and you're thinking about buying a new monitor, then it may not be a good idea to go for Ultra HD unless you're also willing to upgrade your graphics card.
Yeah, indeed.
So that's something to keep in mind.
And it depends on what games you want to play with it.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, I think that pretty much covers all of it. So maybe we want to draw another winner.
Yeah, let's do it.
Make somebody else happy, and then in the meantime, I can talk about that we can't tell you what we're going to talk about next week yet. We are going to have a live stream, but we're still working. We're still working to figure out what the subject will be.
We're also still figuring out who's going to do the live stream for you guys.
Well, that usually depends on the subject, right? So
that's true. That's true. And who's available? Because today, usually Mankit would do the monitor streams.
Yep.
But he was on a holiday, so we took over.
Exactly.
I hope you guys thought we did okay.
Yeah.
If not,
let us know.
just also, if you don't like it, let us know.
Yeah. Or
How
if you have
horrible we did.
information that you would have liked, but that we didn't provide, or.
Yeah. And then we have our last winner. This is an easy one, Peter.
Is it?
I will make it bigger for you. Our last winner for today.
Does it say SLI?
Yeah, like SLI or SLI. I don't know how we should pronounce
SLI?
it. With a dot.
SLI dot.
Yeah, SLI dot.
Okay.
Congratulations, you also
SLI
won
dot.
a Steam wallet code.
Yeah.
We will email it to you in the coming days with some instructions on how to redeem it, and we hope you will enjoy it.
Cool, yeah.
So that was it for today.
Yes.
Yeah, like Peter already mentioned, still a surprise what we'll do next week. But one thing is for sure, it will be at the same place, at the same time, and we hope to see you again
Exactly.
then.
All right. Take care.
Now we're tuning out. Indeed, take care. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.
See you guys next week. Bye.